Trainer! Vent 2 sekunder. Ich mache jetzt einen Podcast. Ich war 24 Stunden da und ich habe mir zu dem gesagt, jetzt kommen aber der super Frauenmannschaft vorbei. Nein, ich
Hi and welcome to the Fussball Channel with me, host Markus Fjørtoft, and co-host Jan Fjørtoft, who is back to where the legend began, I guess, in Germany. We can say that much, Dad. And I do recognize that the Deutsche Bank arena behind you. Spending some time in Frankfurt. Please start with that. Why are you in Frankfurt right now?
On my way to the Premier League. The Premier League starts tomorrow. We're recording this on Thursday. But yes, I've been the last 24 hours in Frankfurt having different meeting. I'm doing a project with Eintracht Frankfurt. I've done that for a year. So then and again, I have to go here and say hello to the people. Watch the training today from Eintracht Frankfurt, the first team with Dino Topmel. I spoke with him about the season. They are starting, of course, the Pokal, the cup on Monday. They're playing Eintracht Braunschweig. Had meeting with Markus and yeah, I let myself be informed, so to say. And I'm sitting now on my right side here, the training place when I used to be here. This is a training place. Now they have a bigger capacity and not far from the airport. So I just want to excuse, like, this sound will come often here in Frankfurt because there are some planes going into this busy airport. But I always enjoy being back at the airport. No, sorry, I'll be back at the airport. Back at the airport going to Frankfurt. And as I'm seeing now behind me, just before I started, I met the head of the Frauenmannschaft, the female team, the women team of Frankfurt is always also very successful. So it's always a great club to come to. And behind me here, you can see Deutsche Bank Arena. In my time, it was Waldstadion, but of course now it's a big stadium. And also Eintracht Frankfurt is one of the best organized clubs in Germany. They got 500 employees. They built up their Profi camp, meaning they have a new building where they're going on performance culture. So a great club to be back at, Markus.
And what is the general mood around the club going into this new season? Obviously, got the European spots, but lost Pacho to PSG. Rode has retired. You obviously got still a pretty decent squad, I say. But what is the general mood when you've been speaking to Krösche, Topmüller, etc.?
Well, the first thing Dino said to me when I came on the training pitch, if you came last season, we needed a striker. No, we needed a central defender. And that is no secret. We've seen that in the media. So I don't think you can help us now, but yes, I think they're happy. I spoke with Rasmus that was at Leeds, and Rasmus was in Salzburg, of course. Then you have Oscar Højlund. They got the little brother of Rasmus. He's here, so they had a Scandinavian connection. Is always good at Eintracht. They had one of those sessions today where they play France against Scandinavia are winning.
Yeah, I love to hear that.
We love that. We love that, of course. Yeah, I think the mood is okay, Markus. I think they at the end of the season, last season, Eintracht Frankfurt, they started very well, and then it got a bit worse and worse somehow. But somehow the position, they were sixth. They got the European spot, Eintracht Frankfurt, but still the mood in and around the city was not the best. But still, they're in Europe, in the heart of Europe, the address is called here, where the Profi camp is. So they're very proud of their connection to Europa, with Frankfurt being in the middle of Europa. So of course, with that, well, as they say, at the heart of Europe. So I think the mood is okay. I think they know that they haven't taken it's impossible to take the next step among the top four because Leverkusen, Leipzig, Dortmund, Bayern is ahead of them. But I think that Eintracht always been like the best of the rest, and that always give you European spot. And in some years when they won the Europa League, they won the Champions League. So the progress of this club is amazing. I arrived yesterday and was thinking of it when I came here, and I saw how professional this club. Okay, I was here nearly 25 years ago, and that need to be development, but it's a very, very well run club with my good friend and good partner, Axel Hellman as CEO, has done a fantastic job here. So it's a great club, and I will recommend everybody to see Frankfurt. Also, the fans of Frankfurt are one of the best in Europe in terms of passion, in terms of choreography, in terms of singing, and I think people know that from their YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, Eintracht Frankfurt is a special case because it's what sort of identity you forge as a club, and Eintracht in many ways has been successful at that, but also a victim of their success, in which someone like Pacho going to PSG is recruited from Royal Antwerp, and a season later he's gone. And that's a huge credit, obviously, to Markus Krösche, who not for the first time nor the last time will have brought in someone like that and then sell them on for even more money. We will, however, go into more in detail with a Bundesliga preview next week. Today is just to touch upon a bit of what's happening around the German football, the Bundesliga, and what have you. I guess since we were on that Scandinavian tone, so to speak, we've got a rather significant profile coming into the Bundesliga with Antonio Nusa, Norwegian. We know him obviously from early on when he made his debut and broke through at Stabæk, which is only 5 to 10 minutes from us. A fantastic talent, second youngest goal scorer in the Champions League when Club Brugge beat Porto away, and now is portrayed a bit of as a Dani Olmo replacement, but not quite the same player even still, though, Dad.
No, and I think that is a bit overdone by the media because he's coming in that position. I think that I saw some statements from the club that he's coming there to develop as a player. He has to take the next step, and Antonio Nusa has the potential to do that. There was a stage of his career he was struggling a bit with his injuries, so he didn't have the permanent kind of first team experience, but always done well for Norway. Got 6-7 caps for Norway, I think, scored a goal there, and is always a good guy to catch. Remember, I had him at this event we had at with the Crown Prince family in Norway, this yearly thing that we're doing. That was my first time to really meet him as a person. Great lad. He's just a 19-year-old who loves his football, and I think that he lost out on the Brentford deal because they found something in medical, and that broke down. But still, he was patient, and I think we're coming to RB Leipzig. You're coming to a club that knows what to do with young kids. That's what they do. Remember, they took Olmo from Zagreb as well. Yes, he played in the Champions League there, played in Europe for Zagreb. Yes, he came from Barcelona, a funny kind of career road that he took. But I think that is a great signing for both club and Antonio Nusa. There is no guarantees in football, Markus, and I think that's why I and a lot of other people who try to comment on this are asked to comment on that. He's not an Olmo one-to-one replacement. Olmo is one of the best players in Europe. He was one of the best players in the European Championship. Antonio Nusa is not there yet, but he got a potential to go there. So this is a great signing for us, and it's also a great signing for us as Norwegians that we have another Norwegian in football. And I said to the local paper yesterday, I said I hope he will have the same development that Julian Ryerson had when he came to Union Berlin, took step by step, and now one of the best players for Dortmund. I mean, all the respect to the young kid.
Yeah, and quite a deal for RB Leipzig, back to kind of that model in which they've done so well with in terms of recruiting well, young, and perhaps a bit cheaper. He was supposed to go to Brentford for 37 million euros in Germany in January. Failed the medical. Now they get him for 21 million euros plus 7 million in bonuses, a 5-year contract till 2029 as well, plenty of times to develop. And we've seen that with Ryerson, we've seen it with Haaland, we've seen it with Bellingham, and he is within that bracket. And RB Leipzig referred to him as one of the brightest and one of the best players of his generation in Europe. So there's certainly the expectation, but also the facilitation for a talent like that. We look forward to seeing Antonio Nusa in the Bundesliga alongside the likes of Xavi Simons and Šeško. Dad, in terms of, let's go, not a very good bridge, but Ryerson, Dortmund, what's going on at Dortmund, and what are your expectations from them this season? We haven't spoken too much about them, but we know we have Nuri Sahin in as coach, very exciting, but still very much inexperienced in that regard. How do you see that picture?
Yeah, I think we could take Dortmund and Bayern for different reasons. One of the reasons is that I predict that there will be a big crash in both clubs, or at least one of the clubs. And I explain why. Nuri Sahin was brought into Dortmund. We just start with Sahin. Was brought into Dortmund after he did an admirable job at Turkey. He got very good feedback. We know that he's a great lad. Remember, Markus, remember that interview I had with him after the bomb attack? Yep. Remember how he managed to take that human part of it and communicate it. And since then, I always have a soft spot for Nuri Sahin. Came in, helped then at the club as a co. Then Terzic gone, and Sahin is yet the man there in charge. But in charge for the whole club now, not Sebastian Kehl, that people thought would take the next step, Lars Ricken. Lars Ricken has been at the club for ages. Lars Ricken is a Dortmund legend after that Lupfer back in Champions League final, I guess it was in 97, when they won the Champions League trophy, Dortmund. So Lars Ricken is there, and then is Sebastian Kehl as a sporting director. The sporting director's contract will be 1 more year. So what will happen to Sebastian Kehl, we don't know, but we know that he works with Lars Ricken now. Lars Ricken, so to say, the CEO, or so to say, is the CEO. And then they, not funny enough, but they took Sven Mitzlaff. He is a German that is got a reputation of getting the best players in. And to be fair to Dortmund, before we start with a negative thing, they've had a good transfer window.
Yeah, he brought in Kagawa and Lewandowski back in the time, right? And been at Arsenal and Monaco and such.
Stuttgart. So they've had a good transfer window, Guirassy, Anton. They've got a lot of good players in. So the transfer window is good. So far, so good. But he is now blocked from being in the dressing room. He's blocked for being on a training pitch. I mean, that is not a good start of the season. The season hasn't started yet. So you
and why has he been blocked? Just for context.
Well, good question.
Well,
do I have a good answer?
Yeah, well, there were rumors about being leaks and stuff like that there would be a lack of.
That was one part, and maybe that is one part of it. I think Sven Mitzlaff, I have never met. I met him, but I don't know him. But it seems that he is a difficult man, but being a difficult man doesn't have to be negative. But there was always this thing, he was in Stuttgart, there was always something going on, and he's been jumping around since he was at Dortmund, but he's always done a decent job getting players in. And the thing is that it was signaled today in the media, because this is an ongoing thing in the German media as well. The ongoing thing is that he's blocked, he's not there, and they had reasons for that, but transfers that he wanted to keep on doing that. He was negotiating with about players, and Sebastian Kehl didn't know about it, and so on and so on. Well, at least the conclusion stand yet. The position now is that he's not allowed on a training pitch. He's not allowed in the dressing room. So we'll see how this will go. I mean, Sven Mitzlaff, this is just, I don't know. This is just, I'm just confirming what I hear. I don't know his side of the story. I just think that Watzke, who is still around, still hanging around with St. Baratas and advisor Matthias Sammer, they're still around, and this needs to be solved. And so this is big. It's a big topic in German media that it can crash at Dortmund.
And then we can, and we'll go more into depth about this, and it will be certainly interesting to see how this proceeds, especially as it's more public as such, with who the sporting directors are, who the people in behind the scenes are. We also got the same case for a Bayern and Leverkusen, because on a follow-up from our episode with Florian Bettenberg about the De Ligt transfer, De Ligt ended up going to Manchester United, but there was always that understanding that if Bayern were to sell De Ligt, Leverkusen were under understanding, and they had verbally agreed. So nothing in writing. It was not a gentleman's agreement, but they verbally agreed, obviously with the consideration being that if they had that in writing, that would weaken Bayern's leveraging power when they were to sell De Ligt to Manchester United. But the agreement was, okay, De Ligt goes for 45 million euros plus 5 million bonus. We got Mazraoui for 15 plus 5. And then they could buy Jonathan Tah for 25 plus 5 million. That was the understanding. But now Max Eberl and Bayern have backed out of that. that got Carro triggered.
Wow, yeah.
And he came out and pretty, he was pretty honest. He's later come back and he didn't seem to apologize about his statements. He stood by his statements, but he apologized, respected the club, etc. But yeah, so a little bit of drama going on behind the scenes.
But that is German, and it is interesting with Carro. Carro is from Spain. I'm not saying that the Spains are more explosive than Norwegians, but they have a way of kind of putting things out, and Carro has done that before. And I say also, Markus, maybe that's what Leverkusen needs, and the success, they got a double last season, that speaks for itself. But he went out, but when you're saying he went out, so this is how it came out. He was talking to a fan community, maybe 200-300 people, maybe 150. Very surprisingly, came it out what he said. So he said, "Oh, I didn't know that will come out." Well, Mr. Carro, we are in 2024. We are all editors. Jan is sitting on a box and sitting on a box in Frankfurt doing a podcast. We are all editors. We can get out everything.
Yeah.
So what he said, not only was he mad, he said he will never, ever do business with Max Eberl again. It wasn't like he criticized him. He said, "I will never do business with him again." So that been Bayer. So meaning that looks like Tau will stay. They have sold De Ligt and Matsurai. Uli Hoeneß said, "You won't get any players before you sell anyone. Then you can make the case maybe De Ligt, for me, the best defender by Bayern." So they sell the best defender. All the best to Manchester United. They got a great defender. They sell in a package with Masraoui. So that's Bayern. But then we start on with Bayern. Vincent Kompany is coming there. It's all about politics. Uli Hoeneß is talking. He's coming out all the time. Nothing will be decided at Bayern without the consensus, the accept from Uli Hoeneß. Then the next thing is that they have a CEO called Dresden. So Dresden is the CEO. He took over from Oliver Kahn. He's been there around. Now, apparently, he wackelt, they call it German. He's shaking in his position. That's never good at Bayern. And there is a guy called Dietrich who has his ambitions, has his backers. So this is just the week before we start the league. And Max Eberl, Christoph Freund are under pressure from day one, because they put Vincent Kompany in there, and Vincent Kompany, wow, he has to produce straight away. Does he have the character to do it? Yes. Does he have the authority to do it? Yes. But I've seen so many Bayern coaches being complimented because taking time with the fans, former footballer. You have to win football games. But what we know, Markus, is it's so interesting to follow. I had some meetings here in Frankfurt today, and always my statement is it's the most exciting club in the world, because there's so many players in and around the club. As now Frankfurt are testing their sound signal now for the games, so the music is behind me now. But there's always something to talk about, and Bayern, mind you, Markus, I was working with about the Bundesliga last night, and I nearly forgotten they were not the main challengers to Leverkusen. They were third. Stuttgart was second, and we tend to forget that. So I think that is the timing for Vincent Kompany that is coming. It can't get worse. I mean, we can't even think of with the time when Bayern been so low on the table. I must back to Søren Løvig, the Dane, who was the coach there. So it's going to be exciting to see. So what do you hear, Markus? In Germany, they are ready to rumble in the jungle.
They are indeed. And with those parting words, we will give our goodbyes. Next week, we will be back with our Bundesliga preview. For now, that pleasure to join you in Frankfurt, reminiscing back to some of the trainings I would join you for as well. A club that means a lot to both of us. And I'll attach that to the link, actually. There was a nice little feature that Eintracht did in your hometown of Gushkin as well that I would recommend that people can see. But yes, for now, Dad, auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen von Frankfurt.